Welcome to Tirana, the capital of Albania.
When you think of Europe, Albania is probably not the first country that comes to mind. For decades, this place was completely isolated, ruled by Enver Hoxha, one of the most paranoid dictators in modern history. During his rule, he built over 170,000 concrete bunkers, banned religion, and cut the country off from both east and west. Today, Albania has changed. Its capital, Tirana, is full of color and energy, a mix of ghosts from communist times and a rapidly developing European city. Join me on this journey through Albania's most fascinating city.
This is my first full day in this Balkan country. I just arrived yesterday, so I'd say we're gonna explore the city together. Welcome to Skanderbeg Square. I'm here in the center of Tirana at the central square and have a look around. It's Saturday and there's like a lot of people out here. You can see like the huge mountains here behind the city, because Tirana is actually surrounded by huge mountains and incredible nature. So I think we're gonna get some good views of these mountains while exploring the city. And now have a look at this mosaic up there. That's a really cool communist mosaic, very nationalist. You see the Albanian flag there in the background. And over there we have those huge mountains behind the opera building. And the weather is just perfect. We have early October, so it's a little bit colder, but the sun is beautiful. And I'd say we're gonna explore the city together now. So we do have a mosque here, but what's really interesting, Albania was the first country in the world that became atheist, like officially atheist, because they had a crazy communist president back in the day, and he heavily suppressed religion here. And that's why most people here are not very religious anymore.
After World War II, Albania fell under the control of Enver Hoxha, a communist dictator who ruled the country for more than 40 years. At first, he was close to Yugoslavia, then to the Soviet Union, and later to China, but he eventually broke ties with everyone and made Albania one of the most isolated countries on earth. Hoxha banned religion, controlled all media, and punished anyone who spoke against the regime. During his rule, thousands of people were imprisoned, sent to labor camps, or executed. By the time Hoxha died in 1985, Albania was poor, cut off from the world, and stuck in the past. Only after the fall of communism in the early 1990s did the country finally open its borders and begin to rebuild.
And this is really nice so far. There's a lot of people out because the weather is just so beautiful today. So you can see nowadays you can get free Bibles here again. So religion is allowed again. Look at these mountains here behind the city. This is beautiful, absolutely beautiful. One thing I've already noticed is the city landscape is super interesting. It is somewhat really mismatched. Buildings are really colorful and you have like these really modern buildings, and then you also have like some communist influences. You also have some traditional Albanian buildings, and it's just such an interesting city landscape. We have like some really old buildings over there, street art, and everything's like colorful, but then we have these super modern, very experimental towers right here, or right here in the back. And here on this side, again, like they've built this super modern condo building with like a whole garden area on your balconies. So that's really interesting. The city landscape seems to change a lot, and it is definitely really, really unique. I really like the city so far. It is really, really nice. The streets here are so cute with all of the trees, but I'm glad I don't have to ride in a car here because the traffic seems incredibly bad. It's lunchtime right now and I'm a bit hungry and I've never tried Albanian food, so that's where we're gonna go to try some authentic Albanian dishes. So guys, we got a couple of Albanian dishes and we're gonna try that now. So here we have some vergese, which is basically cheese and peppers, and we're gonna eat it with this Albanian bread that looks like a cake almost. It's like very spongy almost. So the cheese comes with these peppers in here, and let's try it. Cheers. Wow, this cheese is really good. It's not too strong, it's actually pretty mild. With the peppers and the bread, it's really, really good. This bread is so interesting, by the way. Like, the texture reminds me a lot of cake. And then we have a second dish here. This is stuffed peppers with rice inside. And one really nice thing what I noticed about Albanian cuisine is they have a lot of dishes that are vegetarian by default, which is just perfect for me. So here, the pepper comes with rice inside. Cheers. Well, that's really good. That actually reminds me a little bit of some dishes I tried in Bulgaria last year. It's very similar. It is really, really good. Cheers. So we're gonna finish food and then we're gonna continue exploring the city. This food was great. So far, I'm really impressed by Albanian food, and now I'm really, really full. So we can head back and continue exploring the city. So over here, we've arrived to the castle of Tirana, and this seems to be very touristy here. Let's have a look inside. Oh wow, this looks more like a bar street nowadays. So right now I don't know if there's an ancient castle here or they've just transformed it into this like little nightlife and restaurant area. Whatever it is, it's really cute. And I think up here we've already reached the end. So yeah, I think the former castle grounds have been transformed to this little area here, which is perfect if you look for souvenirs you want to eat. Here I'm standing in front of the most iconic building in Tirana, the Tirana Pyramid. And this pyramid was opened a couple of years after the crazy communist leader Enver Hoxha died in 1988, I think. So that's why they opened this pyramid here as a museum for him, to keep his legacy alive. Because this president had a whole personality cult surrounding him. Some people even compare his personality cult to the personality cult of Kim Il-sung from North Korea. So it must have been crazy times back then. But after communism fell, this former museum was abandoned, and for a long time this building stood abandoned here in the middle of the city. And this was actually the most expensive building, communist building, built back then. So for a long time it was just like abandoned and decaying, but they've recently renovated it and now it's back open. So I'd say we're gonna have a look inside. So it definitely looks very colorful, very, I don't know, playful. Okay guys, I just did my research. So this here behind me, all these like colorful blocks, this is an innovation center nowadays. So I think this pyramid is the best example of gentrification. Before we had a museum for the crazy communist leader, now we have all the startups here. But now I'd say we're gonna have a look up the pyramid because we can actually climb it. This is an amazing view up here with these huge mountains in the background. Yeah, the city is just surrounded by mountains. And I feel like up here we can see even better how the city is developing. All around here we have this huge modern buildings. That is so interesting. I really did not expect Tirana to be this modern, especially coming from Istanbul, where I spent the past months. I'm very, very surprised like how modern the city is. What's really interesting is like here in Tirana, compared to, for example, Sofia, the capital of Bulgaria, which is like just not very far from here. But Tirana comparatively is like not nearly as picturesque in my opinion. We don't have many of these like beautiful European old buildings here. We either have, or at least from what I've seen so far, there are either like old communist buildings or like super modern high-rises here, which is just really interesting because the country got a lot of money, especially from the United States. And I think a lot of this money was just used to tear down old buildings, to construct new buildings, to develop the city. And that is why we have just so many very, very modern buildings everywhere here around. This area where I am right now is a very special area. It's the Blloku neighborhood, and during communist times back then, common people were not allowed in this whole neighborhood. It was reserved only for high-ranking officials that are involved with the government and politics. And also the former leader Enver Hoxha had his residency here in this area. So back in the day, I would have never been allowed in here. Nowadays, of course, it's like open, it's just a normal neighborhood, and it's actually became very, very trendy after the fall of communism. There was a real boom here in this neighborhood, and there were a lot of new buildings, and it's very trendy nowadays with a lot of bars and restaurants and cafes. So this here is the villa of the former leader Enver Hoxha, where the crazy communist leader lived. So to be fair, it is actually relatively modest, especially if you look to countries like Romania, where the former leaders spent like, I don't know, millions and billions of euros to build themselves the biggest palace in the whole world. So this is a rather small villa compared to that. Welcome to another day here in Tirana. Today I'm at one of the most important sites of the city, because back then when Enver Hoxha ruled the country, he was quite paranoid of invasions, and as a result he built more than 750,000 bunkers in the country. More than 750,000 bunkers, that's a lot. So the level of paranoia was quite high, I would say. And here I'm at the most important bunker in the capital, Tirana. I'm here at the Bunk'art 1 museum. So nowadays this bunker is a museum, and that's what we're gonna check out today. Let's head in here. I really like this atmospheric music in the background. It really does set the vibe for exploring this bunker now. So we got our ticket for the museum, and what's just really interesting about Albania is cigarettes count as a normal snack here. You can conveniently get it at the snack machine. So there are a lot of bunkers here all over Albania, but most of them are rather small, and this is the big exception with this bunker that we're gonna visit now, because this one here is actually massive. It stretches across 5 floors. I think it has more than 100 rooms. And it was actually the personal bunker of Enver Hoxha and other high-ranking politicians back then. So if something would have happened, this is where they would have gone. And that's where we're gonna go too. So I think we reached the entrance. Let's head in here. Okay. Yeah, these are pretty low. So this here is the decontamination room. If you came from outside, you would have to stay in this room back then,
So just to make sure there are like no chemicals on you, and only then you were allowed to continue further. And I like the soundtracks in the back. It's almost like as if there was an attack outside. So that's why we head into the bunker. And all of these doors would have been like shut, closed, sealed. Look how thick the wall is. So that Enver Hoxha would have been safe back then and here, back in the day. And here we're actually in Enver Hoxha's room. This is where he would have slept back then. And his private bathroom. I mean, to be honest, it does look quite depressing, but it's a pretty big bathroom given that this is all in a bunker. And this is probably where he would have worked back in the day, from inside the bunker. Because this is actually a nuclear bunker, so if there would have been an attack, all of the facilities are made in a way that people can stay here for a long time, I think. Here on his table, Enver Hoxha's table, we have this book with a photo of Stalin, which was probably one of his biggest inspirations.
This was a really interesting glimpse into Albania's history. And the very interesting thing about this bunker is that it wasn't even known of by the common people, and only years after the fall of communism did they discover the bunker, and they transformed it into this tourist attraction nowadays. So we're done with the bunker, now I am starving. So I'd say let's find some food. I just found some Albanian burek, and that's what we're gonna try.
So I just found this ledge to sit on because that was just a takeaway place. And I really wanted to try Albanian burek because I spent a whole month in Istanbul before and I had a lot of burek there, and I love it so much because I'm addicted to cheese. And here in Albania they have their own version of burek, and that's what I got here. Look at this. Here we have some good Albanian burek. Well, I have to try it first to see if it is as good as the Turkish burek. So, cheers. Wow, this is really good. So, this comes almost with like some sort of cottage cheese, and it's like layered, like very flaky dough. It's really, really good. I honestly can't say if it's better than the Turkish one or not, because there's just so many different variations of burek. So I definitely approve of that. Cheers.
I am back here at my Airbnb, and exploring Tirana was really interesting. The city surprised me so much. Compared to capital cities of the neighboring countries or nearby Balkan countries like Bulgaria, Romania, Tirana just feels so different. It seems really developed. There are like so many modern buildings here, and I definitely did not expect this. Plus, Albanians are super nice. I really like the culture. People are very warm, extremely helpful, very, very welcoming. So I had some great first days here in Albania. Tomorrow I'm gonna travel to the capital of Kosovo. And I hope you're gonna join me on this next adventure. And I hope to see you again next Thursday. Thank you so much for your support. Bye bye.